Hi there, I'm Adam Kirbos and this is my novel, Night Out. I observe and pay close attention to Donna Fauna. She sits in the interrogation room. I see that her mind is in a tumble. It's racing. She is probably aware what we know, what I expect. But yet she still manages to calm herself. As if she would be in a struggle in her mind, as if she wants to become subtle. This is always what people do when they feel guilty. Try to smooth them out. Try to pretend everything will be right. Maybe in their minds they have still this hope and this belief that they will get away with it. I'm thoughtful. Then I walk in to the interrogation room. I look her deep in the eyes. I want to convey that I know. I want to convey with a piercing look, as if I could see into her soul, as if I could see her conscience or the void where her conscience is supposed to be. The attention here and the purpose is to intimidate her before an interrogation, to pin her against a corner. So in order, it might be easier to assert dominance, in order to keep the interrogation going. I sit down. I haven't said a word. I haven't greeted her. I haven't wished her a good day. I haven't asked her whether she could manage to come here. I haven't thanked her, nothing. I treat her as a normal criminal. In front of me, there's a file. A big file I have gathered throughout this investigation. I want her to see the file. I want her to pin her eyes on the file. I move the file, which I have laid in front of me, a little bit far aside, as if I have already read the file over and over again, as if I already know it by heart. And I would only want to see the person. I want to give this act, this murder, a face. The killer has been known now. And again, I try to pierce with my gaze into her soul. Again, I try to intimidate her. And I see it works. She moves her eyelashes up and down. She closes and shuts her eyes in exhaustion, as if she would be beat, as if the thoughts in her mind are racing her, as if she would be exhausting of thinking, of overthinking, where thinking hurts, where one goes through all these possibilities and all this would be and could be, but yet all these solutions, all these reassurances that one will get away or that this will dissolve eventually, that they more and more sway, that they more and more are detached from what is really going on in front of everyone's very eyes. She's exhausted. Her body composure is bent forward, as if she would be carrying a big weight with her, and as if she wouldn't be able to carry it anymore. For so long, she has kept this secret, kept it inside her. For so long had she lived with Ellie, with her twin sister. I ask her, what happened to Ellie? Again, I try to be severe. I don't say much, just try to pierce with my gaze into her soul. Donna is thoughtful for a moment. She's dumbstruck. No one would have assumed that she would have killed her own sister, her own twin sister. Isn't there supposed to be a special bond between twins? So why would anyone ever assume that one's own twin sister would kill someone, them? No one thought about it. But now it was spoken out. Now it was mentioned. Now she is accused. She cannot escape the gaze of the police. After a while, in exhaustion, she starts speaking from her soul, as if she wanted to tell all these things long ago, as if she didn't have the opportunity to relieve her conscience. She starts. My first memory of candy is about pain. This is, I don't know how old I was, probably 3 or 4. But whenever I ate candy, Mom had to give me insulin. She didn't want me to be deprived of pleasure. She thought that it is necessary that young children eat candy, chocolate, or whatever. She wanted me to be part of others. But while others could enjoy their lives, I got an insulin shot. It was always filled with pain, even to this very day when I see candy. I always perceive this pain, this stinge. And this doesn't leave you. I was born with it. I did not choose this life. I have thought about it a great deal. I've thought about it over and over again. I am a twin. My chances of being a diabetic, of being born with this disease, are 50-50. Ellie was not ill. Ellie, she had it all. She could enjoy her life. There was never anything that clouded her world. She never saw this. She never felt this side of the world, this side of the table. I always thought, and I imagine always what my mom would say, how she would react, because I heard a lot about family, about bond, about what one should appreciate in life. That one needs to be somewhere, needs to belong somewhere. And family would be the very home where one would belong. Family members. But I always asked, was I ever a member of this family? Was I ever part of it? Because I did not feel like I was one of them. It felt different. Whenever I looked at Ellie and Mom, they were somehow far away from me, detached. As if my thoughts, as if this body I have would not be in a way attached to them. As if I would be different. Maybe there was a mistake. I sometimes thought about it. Maybe I should have grown up with parents who are like me. But nothing could be done. Mom was always positive. She is always so fucking positive. For her, everything is imaginable. You always have to believe. She runs around in this stupid diner, always with a smile, always joyous. She told me over and over again that every time a customer comes into the diner, he wants to be treated. He wants to be treated specially by a laughing face, by someone who likes to be around him, a familiar face. He wants to walk into the diner as if he would be walking into the dining room in his family mansion or in his family home. And he wants to be part of this family, a nice face that people can bestow on him. So in the morning and in the afternoon and whenever he eats lunch, it is not only about enjoying just one meal, it is about the company every one of them would have. And therefore we should all smile that happiness and whatever comes with it would come from inside the soul, and that we would only have to discover the very light that would be in us. I never understood that. I never understood the crap Mom used to tell. She could smile. She was healthy. She built her life on it. It was weird. And yet I kept all these years, I kept it to myself. I didn't challenge her. I did not contradict her. Because I never thought that she would ever understand how it is to be like me. You cannot just be positive. You cannot just think away. That you cannot live your life. That you cannot partake in life pleasures. You cannot talk away that you are fragile. That something is not right with you. That you feel not right in your body, that you feel so vulnerable, so fucking vulnerable, that you have to watch your steps, that you have to be careful, and then you feel filthy. You smell yourself, you smell your sweat, you fear that others might get a whiff of your stench. You feel so dirty all this time, as if you would be the dirty child, this filthy object. And you have to watch your step. And it burns you out. These thoughts, you think them over and over again. You think that other people could smell your disease, that they could sniff it out, that they would even point their fingers at you. And that their faces would be this contorted in disgust. That they look at you and their faces show revulsion, nauseating. I never felt well around other people. I could not stand long enough in the near and close to other people. I always thought that they could see me, smell me. They could see that something is not right with me. And then I always asked, why do I have to pretend? Why do I have to pretend that everything would be fine? Why can't I just live my life? No, diabetes is not a disease people talk about. It's not something anyone wants to mention. I didn't have anyone who was willing to talk about it, what we go through. Oh, everyone was in hiding. And so did I. So did I. Mom and Ellie, they were doing fine. And I had to pretend everything was fine. Mom kept reiterating that we should be happy with what we have. That we should appreciate what we got. What a stupid phrase. I never understood it. I hate it. I hate working in this diner. I hate to waste my days and my life day and day. But yet, I cannot stay away from it. Yet I pretend over and over again, day by day, hour by hour, that everything is fine, that everything is alright. I pretend that everything is fine with me. That I'm not a filthy, despicable girl. That I'm not diseased. That there would not be something inside me, something black, something dark, which takes over me, which refrains me from living my life. No, I pretend. Because for many, for Mom, for Ellie, in the end, it is all about candy. In the end, it is all about whether you can eat sweets or not. That's what they all think about. They don't see the thoughts behind you. They don't see your thoughts, that you think that something is rotting inside you. That something is wrong with you. That you have been betrayed of something, of your life. No, for them it's all about candy and sweets. Mom once said that I should count myself lucky because I probably do not feel the urge to eat sweets. So I would never have to be worried. I never have to worry about getting fat. No, what I have to be worrying about, that I could lose my feet, that I could hurt myself, my toe or whatever, and could even die of blood poisoning. No, I had to fear about death. That every bite could be my last. Every chocolate I enjoy could lead to my death. This is what I lived through, day in and day out. It was a restraint on myself. It was a mental prison I could not break out from. And all my thoughts and all my desires revolved only around this thought. It was not about candy. It was about being normal. It was about living one's life. It was about having to deal with the fate that was bestowed on me, having to deal with the fact that life is unfair. No one around me understood that. Everyone always thought, well, I'd be doing fine. And what's the fuss about it anyway? So I started a game. I started this game very early. And this game is called to be what you desire. Of course, I never wanted to live this life. Of course, I wanted to be someone else who wouldn't. Who would want to live in a sick and weak body? Who would want to live a life where he has to watch every step, where he has to restrain himself in life, where he cannot just live the moment, give in to any whim? No. Everything, every thought, every emotions is subordinated to this disease, to your possible death. You have to sacrifice a lot for this life, just for living. And I did, because life is so precious. Even though you feel betrayed, even though you feel that you did not get what you deserve, or that your life would have been completely different if I only would have gotten the chance. So I played this game that I could be someone else, someone healthy, people whom would be liked. Because I could not be around people, because I had to watch what I eat, I could not be sitting next to others who are not like me, who could eat candy, a lot. I had struggles to refrain myself. I wanted to be a normal child. I wanted to partake in all those normal activities. I wanted to have a life, and yet it was not possible. So I pretended that everything was fine. I pretended to walk in the shoes of someone else. At first, I wore the clothes of mom. I wanted to be like a strong, independent. I tried to smile, a stupid smile. I tried to pretend that everything would be fine, and that all these stupid sayings and all this positiveness, that it would be in a way able for me to perceive it, to fathom it, that I could work in the diner a 14-15 hours shift and could still smile. I don't know why. Why would anyone ever smile to be trapped in this stupid diner? But I played this game, that I could do that I could just pretend everything was fine. And most important of all, that I could just enjoy life, eat candy, eat a lot, as if I would live in a chocolate factory. As if I could motivate myself just with eating candy all day long. And I don't have to fear death. I don't have to fear that I would get black teeth, that I could lose a limb or whatever, that I could still remain a whole, complete, that nothing inside me, nothing that would rot, nothing that would destroy me from inside. My thoughts, every breath I take, I pretended to be healthy. But more and more, Mom was out of my league. She was too detached. More and more I saw Ellie. Ellie was all I could have possibly been. My chances to have been born healthy were 50-50. Ellie was healthy. And I always imagined my life, how I would have turned out without this mental prison, how my life would have been. And Ellie was there. Ellie was me. Whenever I saw Ellie, it was like me looking into a mirror. Looking into a mirror that showed me all the possibilities. For Ellie, life was so easy. Ellie went through school. Everyone liked her. Everyone enjoyed being around her. Ellie could make friends. She had this special skill. Or she was just carefree. I don't know. But she was not restrained. She didn't feel chains. She didn't have to watch. She didn't felt that something is wrong inside her. She could just live without caring for anything, just for herself. What a life this is. And I watched her in school and in her life. This is what I most of the time did, just watch others live. And I watched this possible me, this carefree me, this would-be me. And I imagined that this could have been me. And I felt a deep bitterness towards life. It was not about candy. It was about cruelty. Whenever I went into a church, I could not pray to a God who has burdened me with this. How could I be thankful? How could I live through this while others not? These thoughts in my mind, I could not bear them. I hated Ellie. I hated Ellie from very early on. And yet I wanted to be like her. I wanted to be the person who, when he looks into the mirror, when she looks into the mirror, she can swap places and live. And I always imagine how my life would be if there wouldn't be Ellie. If I would not have been born as a twin, but as a normal single child, would I have been healthy? Ellie was my doom. I had a hate-love relationship to Ellie. Ellie was smart. Ellie succeeded in school. She was the success story. I was not really known. People compared me to Ellie. I was used to be compared on daily basis for all what I am not, for all the skills I don't have, for all the joy that does not come out of me, for all what I could not share with anyone. I was always seen as if I would be lacking something. As Ellie would be the ideal state, the ideal person, how one should be, how a nice girl, as a supportive member of a society should be. And all I was not. No, I could not bear their gazes, their contempt, how they looked at me, how they looked down at me, as if I would be someone indignant, insolent, stupid child, a brat, and that there would not be a purpose why I'm like this, as if it would be my own choice, as if I have chosen to be like this. No, Ellie had it all. And then she went to college. She could get out of here. She wasn't trapped in this life. She didn't have to work in this stupid diner. She didn't have to feel and walk through day and day. Walk through this feeling that life has forgotten you at all. That you do not live. That you will never be able to appreciate those little things which are careless, which no one ever thinks about, which is normal for all others. And when Ellie went to college, she cut ties with us. She did not visit. She didn't want to meet me. And I really wanted to see her life. I was curious. How the possible me, how this image, this spitting image of me, how I would have been if I would have been her, how my life would have been turned out if I would have swapped places with her. I was curious. I wanted to meet her friends. I wanted to continue playing this game, walking in Ellie's shoes, walking in Ellie's clothes. But Ellie cut ties with me. She probably did, because I remember once Ellie wasn't at home. I know Mom and she were always special. They always went somewhere. They always went to a candy shop. They never took me with them because it was not possible. They were not willing to flood the room with their stupid positivity. No, they wanted to be among them, enjoy everything. They told me it's not worth thinking about it. So I do. One of these days, I went into Ellie's room and I wore some of her clothes, some of her stuff, and I imagined people calling me Ellie. I imagined how they would react. I imagined whether I could live this life. This was my game. But then Ellie and Mom they came early and they saw me. Ellie caught me and she just stared at me. She didn't say anything. She didn't laugh. She didn't chide me why I was wearing her clothes. No, she just stared at me nonchalantly, plainly. And I have never forgotten her gaze, her stare. Was it contempt? Was it understanding? Complacency? Tolerance? Whatever it was, it never left me. I kept pondering over it over and over again, and I thought that this was the sole reason why she didn't want to meet me in college, didn't want me to introduce me to her friends. So I could never get a glimpse into her life in all the possible me's, in this possible me. I felt into darkness. I was devastated, as if I had lost something again, as if my life would only be about losing things, would only be about me having to sacrifice something, as if I hadn't sacrificed enough. I felt miserable. I felt like I would not be anyone at all, that I would be nothing, that I would be no one, that I am trapped in this fragile body, that I cannot break free out of these mental prisons, that I cannot be myself, that I can only live through others, exist in others, in imagining to be someone else. Because if you imagine that you are someone else, if you flatter yourself and imagine how others would react when they would notice that you are someone else and that you are not this fragile person which you are, then you some sort of commit a nasty sadism. You hate yourself. Whenever you live through these illusions, whenever you feel and live through all these possible use you want to be, then this leaves a big scar in your heart. This leaves a big scar because you cannot feel complete anymore. I didn't feel like a complete and whole person anymore. No, my mind, my thinking was fragmented, destroyed. And I hated myself. I hated this life, this body of mine. I could not change it. It was out of my hand. And I felt miserable, this weak person. And then I met the white banner. I saw these people and they gave me strength. They gave me meaning. They gave me something to believe in, or else I would have lost myself. They told me that I'm special as who I am, that I'm special, and that I do not have to feel ashamed of myself, that I should not undermine myself. And it helped me. It helped me a great deal. I know what people will say, but I don't care. I gained confidence. I gained confidence for the first time in my life. I wasn't a stupid, sickly, fragile child anymore. who has to watch others live. I was more than that. I was not just anyone. I wasn't some random person without a face who can only pretend to be someone else because she cannot bear this sickly body of hers, this sickly life where she has to dispense with all pleasures that come with them. No, I could be me. I could love me in a way, if this was really ever love. I regained myself. And I had, at least I thought so, saved myself. I was on the abyss. I was down. And I think I almost would have lost my mind over it. But then one day, it was by chance, I was in the city and I saw Ellie. And I saw her with her boyfriend. It struck me because I did not know anything about it. Ellie had cut us out of her life. We didn't know anything about her. And I had seen a new face of Ellie. I had seen how she laughed, how she moved around this man. I've seen that she was completely different, unrecognizable. More and more I realized that this is and has become a whole different person. And maybe love did it. Maybe the pleasure with whom she was with. This something missing. And I again felt that something was missing inside me. And I envied her. I envied her again because this could have been me. And I went for mental trouble. I was out of my wits because he was black. Yet I was not bothered by it. I could imagine myself to be in Ellie's place, to enjoy my life, to be loved, to live carefree. And then everything, all my self-confidence was lost again. I again hit rock bottom. I again had to face all what I did not got. My life, it didn't have any joy and any pleasure anymore. Again it was emptied, scourged, and I felt this hate, I felt this rage. Why me? Why was I chosen to live through this life, to live through this burden? One day, I don't know why, but one day I decided to visit Ellie in her new home. She had told Mom about it, that after college, that she has a new job at this agency and that she has a new home. She didn't want to live at home. She didn't want to live with us. But Mom wasn't bothered at all. She just was happy for her. And again, I could hear between the lines this scolding, her scolding. Ellie has accomplished something. Ellie enjoys life, and I kept imagining her with her boyfriend, that she could experience everything that I could not. And this left me restless. And I wanted to visit her. I didn't intend to kill her. No, I just wanted to talk her. I wanted to talk of my soul, relieve my conscience. I wanted her to know how I felt. I wanted her to know what it is to be like me. I wanted her to imagine how she would have lived if she would have been on my place, like I keep imagining how I would have turned out, if I would have been her. I wanted her to think about the sacrifices I went through. I've made. I wanted her to live for one day, for one moment in my shoes. I thought that it was a good idea to confront her. And the day I wanted to visit Ellie, I wanted to surprise her because I thought that she would want to meet with me. And somehow, I don't know why, but somehow I thought to myself that it would make sense to take a gun with me. One never knows. Later I tried to rationalize. Well, Ellie lives in the city, and in the city there are some dangerous people, and as a woman you have to protect yourself. But somehow the gun in my hand, it felt weird. It felt heavy, but yet it felt as if it was the right thing to do. I felt emboldened. I was on the way to Ellie. I wanted to surprise her, but it was late. I couldn't make up my mind before that, so I started out late, and I arrived very late. I almost would have turned around and would have driven back home, but then when I was approaching Ellie's home, I saw her hurrying to her car. She was talking on the phone. She was laughing, she was smiling, and again I felt a stench. I felt a bitterness in my heart. I felt this pain. And I saw her in her car, putting her on makeup, looking as beautiful as ever. And somehow I grabbed the gun. I don't know how, but my feet started moving towards her. Step by step I approached her. Step by step I saw her. Up to the moment when she looked up from her mirror, when she saw me and she stared at me again, the same stare, the same glare she had, the same gaze when she caught me wearing her clothes. She had the same facial expression, and I could not bear it anymore. It was too heavy. I was struck. For a moment I hesitated, but then I was filled with hatred again, with deep hatred. And I took out the gun and pulled the trigger. At first, I was shocked, I was speechless, that I really did it, that I was capable of doing it. I could have never imagined it. But then somehow I felt a relief. Somehow it was all over. Somehow I felt alone, and it was good. It was a good feeling. There is only one Ellie. Now, I said to myself, now everyone will see me as Ellie. Now I don't have to compete with anyone anymore. Now everything makes sense. I felt whole. I felt completed. And for a moment, in despair of the moment, a lot of thoughts went through my mind, through my head. What will come next? Will I be able to pretend that I be Ellie? Will I be able to pretend that I could live her life? This is all. And then I went home. I hurried home. After Donna Fauna has completed her testimony, I'm struck for a moment. Obviously, she has suffered under her disease a lot. Diabetes type 1. And a lot of thoughts have been built around this notion. And her confession shows that she has no remorse whatsoever, that family bond did not reach as far, and that she had to compete with this image of her twin sister. I don't respond. We have her testimony. She has killed her twin sister. Ellie Fauna could have had a life in front of her. She had a life. And it was robbed from her. Robbed not by thugs or by others, some randomly. No, she was robbed of her life, deprived of her life, because she was normal. And this bothered others. This bothered her twin sister. Is it understandable? Can we fathom what her twin sister went through? Can we say that it is in a way understandable what she did, or the feelings she felt towards her twin sister? Can we? I get up and leave the interrogation room. In my mind, or at least I was raised in that way, that family is always important, that no matter what you do in this world, you don't have anyone. This world is a place where people fight for themselves, where they have no one but themselves. And in such a world, only family is your close friend, helps you, and family loves you unconditionally. Your parents, they love you unconditionally. And this is indeed rare, because everyone who pretends to love you, he or she wants something in return. But again, what if this family union is not built on cohesion? What if one family member feels him or herself betrayed? What if one family member envies another family member because of what he or she got? Is this the end and the destruction of family union? So, one of these thoughts, and it keeps bothering me, because in my work as a private detective, I sometimes met siblings who went for their brothers, and who went for their siblings' partners, who envied their brothers for having an attractive girlfriend, or women who envied their sisters or cousins for having a husband or a decent husband. And they tried to take their husbands away, but then murder is something different, of course. Something which may be different to fathom. And did it happen in a spur of a moment? More and more I'm thoughtful. I'm not sure what to make of it, how to settle my mind. Is candy, is it a big deal? Am I mistaken? Is being born with diabetes, is this a severe plight? Can we call it a disease? A disease that in the end permeates every tier of your thought process. So that the fetish is being created around these thoughts, around this thought that you lack something, that you cannot partake in life fully because you lack of something. Is this fathomable for someone who has not diabetes? Is this a motive to feel complete and utter hate towards someone else? I have to admit, I can't understand it. I cannot wrap my head around it. After all, I still think that family is so important. This case has disturbed me because it has opened my eyes. I had never seen diabetes as a big deal before. Me too. I too thought that diabetes in the end only comes down to whether you can eat candy or not. And what of it? So you cannot eat chocolate or you cannot eat sweets. So what of it? Why is this a tragedy? But more and more I realize that for others it is indeed a tragedy. It is indeed a feeling of being deprived of essential pleasures in life, and these then lead to tragedy. This is then for them unbearable.